Hey guys, how's it going? I'm back again, and today we're going to be going over some of my rankings for the 2010 NFL Draft after the Combine, after watching some more tape. I've reformed some of my rankings, and I want to share those up with you. To start, if you'd like to see my quarterback, running back, wide receiver, and tight end rankings, take a look at the description. Should be over here. Depending on where you're watching, could be down here. But there's going to be a couple sites that those are on. bloggingthedraft.com, also barracudasports.com, and fantasydc.com for all those. I'm going to go through the rest right here in this video, but those have my top 10s at all those positions, as well as a description of each player and why I rank them as I do. So let's start off offensive tackles. My top offensive tackle right now is still Russell Okung out of Oklahoma State. He showed up at the Combine. Strong upper body, showed really good feet in the drills, things like that. So Russell Okung's my top offensive tackle. I think he's going to be the first one off the board, and he can be a stalwart there for years to come. Next is Bryan Bulaga out of Iowa. Very good pass protector, little inconsistent at times at Iowa, not much of a run blocker, but teams are going to see this pass protection that he can do, his good nimble feet, and they're going to buy into him. He's still going to be probably a top 10 pick. Third is Trent Williams out of Oklahoma. Guy probably could go in the top 10, probably go in the 12 to 15 range. Trent Williams had an excellent combine, very underrated combine. Not a lot of people are talking about him, but he ran in the 4.8s. He really showed up, and I think he proved that he can be a left tackle. That was the big question with him out of Oklahoma. Can he be a left tackle? Is he only a right tackle? I think he can be a left tackle. Number 4 is Anthony Davis out of Rutgers. A guy I was really high on. Loved his tape. I still do. But at the Combine, he didn't show up and do as well as he should have. So, for me, that shows me a lack of work ethic. And I think he might fall a little, but he's still going to be a top 15 pick. But he's my 4th offensive tackle right now. Moving down from there, number 5 is Charles Brown out of USC. Charles Brown, long arms. He was very inconsistent at USC. There were times he got beat in a couple games when he shouldn't have by rushers that really weren't that good. But I buy into Charles Brown. I think he's going to be a late first-round pick. After him is Bruce Campbell out of Maryland, the guy, the buzz of the Combine, but his tape doesn't show up like that. His Combine was top 5 pick type of Combine. His tape is about a third-round pick type of player. I put him at a late first grade. I think he's going to end up maybe in that Arizona, Green Bay range. And there's going to be a lot of offensive coordinators, a lot of offensive line coaches that want their GMs to take him because they think they can mold him into something better than he looks on tape. Scouts still don't really like him that much. People are raising him up a little bit too high. He's not going to Oakland at 8, people. It's not going to happen. Next is Rodger Saffold out of Indiana. I moved him up into my offensive tackle rankings because he showed me at the Combine he could play offensive tackle. He played left tackle in Indiana. A lot of people think he moved into guard. He still might move into guard, but I think he's going to have a shot at left tackle. I think someone's going to take that chance on him. He's a guy that looks kind of frumpy. He doesn't look like he should be very good at offensive tackle, but you get him on the field, you get him working out. He's very, very athletic, and more athletic than you think he would be. So I'm a big fan of Rodger Saffold. I think he'll be an early second-round pick. Might sneak in on a late first if there's a big offensive tackle run. 8 is Vlad Ducasse out of UMass. 9 is Veldheer out of Hillsdale. And 10 is Jason Fox out of Miami. I think Ducasse and Veldheer are definitely second-round picks. Jason Fox had a big injury, may go in the early third round. Ducasse, a guy can play tackle, can play guard. Veldheer is very small school prospect, Hillsdale. Shorter arms, but he has all the upside in the world. I think he's going to be an early second-round pick. Let's move on to offensive guard. So my top guard hasn't changed. It's Mike Iupati out of Idaho. He's a mauler. He's exactly what you look for. Probably will be a mid-first-round pick, something like that. After that is John Jerry out of Ole Miss. Like John Jerry, I think he's shown strength. He really showed up at the Senior Bowl. He's shown me that he can be a starter in the NFL. Another guy I think should be in that running for a second-round pick. Third is Mike Johnson out of Alabama. I'm higher on him than most. I think that Mike Johnson is a guy that can be a starter in the NFL. He'll probably go later in the draft, 4th or 5th round, but I think he's going to play like a second-round pick. All right, let's keep going with our guard rankings. Number 4, Shawn Lauvao out of Arizona State. He's an underrated guy, a little bit undersized, but he works hard, does well, and has done well against those Pac-10 defenses. Might be a mid to late round pick, but a guy I think that can develop into a starter down the line. Number 5 is Jon Asamoah out of Illinois. Guy that does everything well, but nothing great. I think he's probably going to be a 3rd or 4th round pick when all said and done. Teams usually like to get someone like that to bring in as depth. Number 6 is Mitch Petrus out of Arkansas. We know he has that upper body strength. He tied the record for the bench press at the Combine. Someone's going to fall in love with that and take him. The rest of my guys in my top 10 really aren't going to be even mid-round picks, probably more later-round guys. Zane Beadles out of Utah, Sergio Render out of Virginia Tech, Reggie Stephens out of Iowa State, Brandon Carter out of Texas Tech. Those are my guards. At center, number 1 guy is definitely Maurkice Pouncey out of Florida. He is probably going to go in the late 1st round. He could play either guard position or center. Teams really liked him. Some were turned off by his interviews. Some really liked his interviews at the Combine. All in all, I think he'll go as the mid to late 1st round. Worst case, probably the Saints at 32 are going to be looking at him maybe to shore up that center position. But I think he'll get in the 1st round. Second center is J.D. Walton out of Baylor. The more I watch him, the more I've liked him. He's versatile. He can do a lot of different things. He gets a good push right after snapping the ball. I think J.D. Walton's probably going to be a late 2nd round pick, but someone that you won't expect to go there. Number 3 is Matt Tennant out of Boston College. Another guy I'm a big fan of. Every time I watched him, he seemed to be productive. And he seems like that solid player that doesn't have great physical skills, but he gets the job done. So I think Matt Tennant is an underrated player, might go in the mid-rounds, and will be successful down the line. After that, it's Eric Olsen from Notre Dame, Ted Larsen, North Carolina State. Guys that's probably going to be later-round picks, struggle with either snapping the ball or run blocking or pass blocking, have a big hole somewhere, but someone will bring him in as depth.